This is Hunt Nebraska, the official podcast for insight into Nebraska's hunting and shooting sports community. Be sure to give us a follow on Facebook, our space for sharing stories, information, tips, and techniques. Now, Hunt Nebraska. And a big welcome back to the Hunt Nebraska cabin, everybody out there listening to us on, well, whatever sound platform you might be using, or there are folks, Jeff, that still listen to us or watch us and listen on YouTube, which is pretty darn impressive.
Pretty cool.
Real quick around the room and the table, we've got Jeff Rawlinson, Game and Parks. We've got Michael Addison, National Wild Turkey Federation. You got me, Hershy, over here with the Game and Parks as well. And we've got lots of things to hit on. This is going to be a really short one because we haven't done one in a while. You guys have been on the road, and I've joined you a little bit. Just a few days ago, really, we were in South Dakota.
Sioux Falls, South Dakota, for the Midwest Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies annual conference. And it was I think there was like 600 people there. It was a big one.
Yeah, it was packed.
It was a good size conference. Right. And of course, we sit on the Midwest Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies R3, Recruitment, Retention, Reactivation, and Relevancy Committee. And that, of course, is where the group meets from the 13 states, the member states, and we talk about all the different projects, tactics, grants, programs that we're working on to get more hunters and anglers and shooting sports enthusiasts in the ranks so that we have more support for conservation and those time-honored traditions that we just know are good for families.
There you go, and we might talk a little bit about that as well. We've got a big football game coming up this weekend, and folks, it'll probably already have taken place by the time we get this edited and put out there, so either you're happy or sad. But the good news is usually if your Super Bowl party is planned like mine is, you always go away full. What is your favorite Super Bowl snack?
Wings.
I'm with you.
You didn't even think about
I didn't have to think about that. Wings, 100%.
Yeah, that's pretty dang good.
I am a wing guy.
And I don't have a computer in front of me, but I do think there's a statistic as that is the day or the weekend that more wings are sold and consumed than any other time.
I've seen that. I've seen that stat before.
So Are you a sauce guy or dry rub?
Sauce, but not like don't drown them in it. Just a nice thin layer. Kind of put a little bit in the bowl and toss them, and they're not quite enough. Maybe toss them just a little more.
I'm with you. Give it just enough sauce. Sometimes it's swimming. Yeah, and it's just that's not as good.
They get soggy and
cold. I mean, what kind of sauce? We're talking mild sauce. It's got a little kick to it.
I appreciate a good kick. Barbecue is always a time-honored classic. That's not the kick there, but buffalo good. A little like a sweet Asian sort of sweet Thai chili sauce. I like those.
What's your favorite?
Sweet Thai chili.
Sweet
Thai peach
chili.
Habanero.
So you like a little kick.
Oh, I like kick, yeah.
And in it as well. The Parmesan ones I kind of like as well. I get a little garlic.
See, my daughter and my wife
like
like those. I'm not a Parmesan guy.
Really?
Because it's garlic, and I'm not a big garlic guy.
Oh man.
I'm not a big garlic guy.
Yep. And I know there's a local establishment here in town that really relies on Old Bay seasoning, I think it is, as a dry rub, and that's pretty darn good as well. What's your second favorite snack food?
Second favorite snack food
on wings. Jeff's on wings. Second favorite. Right
Jeff's popping a can of Old Bay, and he's just
I think I could just eat the seasoning.
Or his number one is wings, sauce. His second place is wings, dry rub.
Yep. I like nachos. I do like nachos.
You do?
For football game. Yep. I like nachos, cheese sauce.
I should have known that.
I like, the tomatoes and the black olives and the sour cream and the cheese. Oh, my God.
Now, if you venture out west, Michael, in the towns of, I think it's Gering, and there's another one somewhere out there, the Steel Grill. They're in western Nebraska.
Those beef nachos.
You get the steak
nachos. Yeah.
Nachos. It eats like a meal. It'll probably take 2 or 3 people at least to eat all. It is good, folks. We're not even sponsored, but we'd like them to sponsor us. That'd be good.
Send us a plate of nachos, please. We
we're
really
cheap.
appreciate it.
We work cheap, trust me.
So in between wings, what else you munching on, Michael?
Potato skins.
Really?
Yep.
Well, why is that so shocking?
Why is
Those
that
are
shocking
involved, right?
Well, not for the guy.
I mean, you got involved. You got to get the potato out, and then you got to put the cheese.
Or you can Or you can just go to Hy-Vee and get the frozen box of the TGI Fridays potato skins and throw them in the oven.
Then you got that on your conscience of a whole bunch of naked potatoes out there somewhere missing their skin.
you can say
I don't have any conscience about that.
You can say twice baked potato. He doesn't know what that goes into a twice. He just likes eating twice baked potato. He doesn't know it takes forever. Come on.
I do know. My mom made it very clear at Christmas time that it takes quite a while when I requested those.
You requested twice baked potatoes.
I did.
See, I told you it's twice baked potato.
I do like twice baked potatoes.
You can tell by the way he drinks his soda pop.
That's a later.
What are you saying about how I drink my pop, Jeff?
Well, it suggests you like twice baked potatoes.
Not sure where to go with that one. Oh boy.
Anyway,
so hopefully your team has won. If you haven't,
go Chiefs.
Listen to this before.
We all
it's
know,
going.
There it is.
We all know who this side of the room is rooting for.
A couple of Chiefs fans. The good news is, one way or the other, I know there's going to be a lot of red in the stands.
There is.
You got the Niners and the Chiefs out there, so
it's going to be good.
Lots of fun, a lot of things going on. Now, right after South Dakota, I got to take part in something cool. It's kind of along the lines of what you're talking about with the recruitment, retention, and reactivation of hunters, anglers, shooting sports enthusiasts, all that good stuff. Got to go on an adult goose camp for 6 individuals. They happen to all be adult female this year. This is the inaugural one on a goose camp out in western Nebraska right after. In fact, I think we got back, and the next day I took off for that camp. And when you're thinking about a February goose hunt here in the great state of Nebraska, you think cold.
Snow.
You think maybe some snow. Yeah. You think of pretty weary birds that have seen it all and all that type of stuff. We got rained on. It was warm, which was a good thing, but once you get rained on and it's 40 degrees, you're cold regardless. And so I've got to tip my cap to the gals and the mentors that took part in that, thanks to Matt and Bill and Hank out there at Clear Creek, but also Julie Geiser, Sophie Gober, Maria Bagliera, Leslie Hirschberger, Allie Larson, all those that went out in the blinds and I mean manned up to sit out there till the bitter end. And they did see some geese. But a lot of them thousands of them decided to wait until right at the end of shooting hours and then come out.
They know.
It's funny how they know.
Fly around. Yep. They would have decoyed, except all the decoys were getting picked up. So you ever wonder what goes through a goose's mind as it's flying away and it sees this human picking up a goose out of the field?
That poor soul.
Got Fred.
Poor sucker.
Run,
He's
Fred.
a goner.
Yeah.
But it kind of got me thinking. And these gals... I jokingly at the end of the weekend, because it pretty much rained both days that we were able to hunt, I thought this was probably not the best way to introduce new goose hunters to goose hunting is take them outside, get them wet, get them cold, and then there were a couple of shots fired, but not as many as we were hoping to get. They did see lots of critters, but I told them that we're going to rename it next year to a goose hunt and bird watching expedition because we saw not only geese, we saw trumpeter swans, we saw several different species of ducks, eagles everywhere. We saw a lot of birds of prey, hawks, and maybe even some falcons out there, and cranes. We actually saw and heard our first cranes, at least for our group, which was a lot of fun. But as I was getting a lot of them back to the hotel Sunday, we had a little late checkout thanks to the Kimmy out there at the lodge. They couldn't wait to go again.
That's awesome.
They like, we want to do this again. How do we do this again? And that was the whole idea, folks, is we went to a spot that everybody has access to, public hunting area. We got to set up in a way that they can repeat and redo. We didn't take them to some spot that they can only go during this program or anything like that. So next goose season, hopefully a few of them will venture out there and have even more success when it comes to goose as we did. But I got to thinking, you know, not only in the big football games are there some performances, Buffalo Bills, that, you know, have a lot of build-up and then just fizzle. But there are, Jeff, some hunts that have a lot of build-up and then fizzle, but make good stories. One of the things that I always credit my brother for saying is it's the hunt where where not everything goes as planned that you remember the
Which
most.
is most hunts, really.
Yeah.
When you think about mine, I plan. I like to plan. I plan my hunts out, but when I get out there, it's kind of like that old statement, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the nose.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens to me. You get punched in the nose and the plan just...
Goose hunting, right?
Oh,
this
gosh.
year, not just this weekend, folks, but this whole season in Nebraska for waterfowl has been kind of
It's
tough.
been goofy. Yeah, it's just been with the heat, the weather we've had. It's hard to coax birds down from the north when they're sitting up there at 50 degrees and no snow.
Yeah.
I mean, birds migrate, but it's not a given, right? It's not like they have to migrate. There's nobody up there going, go on. They migrate for one reason and one reason only, and that's resources where they're at are limiting, and they keep moving south ahead of the weather to find resources. If they don't have to do that, why would they? That's a heck of a deal to migrate.
Big Canada geese, big mallards, and all that stuff. And I believe I'd have to look it up. I think we've mentioned it here on the podcast, folks, that North Dakota had some of the highest Canada goose counts during their winter surveys than they've ever had before. So it's definitely not just a one spot thing. It's definitely not just eastern or western Nebraska. It was the whole state and even South Dakota, I think. Held a few up, and we're wondering where some of the birds were that usually come through, which makes it tough, right? Because you can have, when we talked to Dr. Mark Vertiska, he'd always talk about the W's. You can have the weather, you can have the water, but if you don't have the waterfowl, or you can have the waterfowl populations up, but if you don't have the weather to push them down to what water you have, it's all that combination. And like you said, and then when we did get the weather, all of a sudden it was what? Negative 15.
Oh,
wind
it
chills
went from like 55
below.
degrees to like a 70-point swing. And all of a sudden you're out there and it's cold and it's windy. But I have to be honest with you, some of our best hunts occurred during right before those first snowstorms and during those snowstorms, which was a little wonky. But we saw birds all of a sudden, and it was cool. But we hadn't seen birds for all of December and into January until that cold weather hit.
All comes together. And I got to say, I was able to sneak out and goose hunt in the same spot that we were during this goose camp weekend, the kind of a learn to hunt type program. And I'm a believer in silhouettes. In January, we had to use a 3-pound hammer to get them in the ground. This last weekend, it was just Bloop. You just didn't want to push too far because don't get a lot of force, and you just push it right in. It was quite the turnaround.
Now, when you guys went to out west on your family goose hunt, was it good weather or bad weather then?
It was 30 to 40 below.
Below.
Which I would take over the rain and warmth that we had.
Agreed. Because you guys had success. You saw birds.
We saw birds, and we caught it just like a lot of the state did. We saw new birds that got pushed down finally because, like you said, the resources, that water hole might have finally froze up. They might have gotten some snow drifting in on the food. And so, we timed it just about right. They don't always play the game, but when it does.
I had a hunt this year, late season goose hunting in a T-shirt. Now, there has never been a day in my life, and I'm not a big goose hunter by any means, but there's never been a day. Shut up.
Survey says.
If you've listened to prior episodes of this podcast,
I am not a goose hunter. I just happened to go goose hunting, but I can tell you right now, I have never had a late season that I've been able to just hunt in a T-shirt. Now, granted, we got heaters and whatnot, but that was ridiculous. You're talking February. And, usually that's just, you think about just bitter cold and you're thinking blizzards and that kind. This has just been goofy. Now, what it does, what it's done that hasn't been real positive for us is when you get that bitter cold, it really congregates the birds in the key areas.
Sure can.
And if you're hunting those key areas, you're golden. You're golden. And we usually are. But when it's nice out, they're spread out everywhere, and they're not congregating those key areas. And you might see geese, you might not. They may want to land, they may not. They got a million places to land and feed now. The only reason they'd land there is because you either said something they liked, or they're just wanting to come down for some reason and land.
And I think that's a good point. I think nature just in and of itself, and I don't know how you prove this or disprove this, even with a good biologist, but when resources are more open, they do kind of scatter. It's kind of like why land in with those 100 or 200 other geese. We can go over in this field and
eat ourselves.
Exactly.
Eat all ourselves.
Yeah, when you get some snow on the ground, that changes. Now we need extra bodies to help get through the snow and find food and that type of stuff. So it definitely adds to it. You guys remember any fabulous failed hunts you had that are really memorable? We've talked about this before on the podcast.
I can remember several turkey hunts where I thought I had a gobbler coming to me on a line and then disappeared. But, that's a lot the too that have that same,
That's turkey hunting.
same sort of experience.
I got him, I don't got him.
And he's gone. But,
I mean, I've had some humdingers over the years. I mean, not necessarily this year. I think my one of my favorite failed hunts of all time is when we pulled in with a truck to unload the decoys for a field hunt and got the truck stuck. And so there we are. Birds are flying. We got the layout blinds. We got decoys out in the truck. The F-150 sitting right to the side over here, and there's nothing we can do about it. We hunted, but we didn't kill any birds. I think the truck spooked them. It was only 10 feet away.
Not being a goose hunter, but you were talking recently about an evening goose hunt where you had some birds locked up on you. And didn't quite play out the way you were looking for.
That's happened a few times. And here's the problem. I got in the blind. And I don't know if this is that time, but I got in the blind. I was checking my email and doing things. I wasn't focusing on the hunt. And I stood up and I'm checking my email and kind of look up and my dog, his head pointing. When a dog's head moves, you need to look too. And I'm looking up the wrong direction. I turn around and there's a 6-pack just locked in on me, covering right in. And I'm looking up at that 6 geese and I'm thinking to myself, now I got 2 options here. I'm going to choose the wrong one. And the wrong one was what I did, and that is jump down and pull the flap down over the blind and be ready, as if they hadn't seen me already, right? And what I should have done is just did what was bringing them in, just stay there and don't move. And by the time they figured out that it was just a short, fat kid in the blind, I may be in range, and I'd have had them. But I didn't. I hunkered down the blind and looked up about 3 or 4 seconds later, and they were heading north already. They flared off to the north. So that was a fail. That was a fail on my part. And I don't think there was anybody else in the blind but me to share that misery with. And so, I mean, I had to sit there and shake my head. It was just a fail on my part. All me. Even my dog went, and he just kind of looked at me. He wouldn't even look at me in the eyes. And we make eye contact a lot, but not this time. He wouldn't look at me in the eyes. So.
Nobody else would have ever known.
Oh, I mean, if you can't celebrate the goofy things you do, then if you can't laugh at yourself, I don't need you guys laughing at me constantly, but if you can't laugh at yourself.
The struggle is real, but it adds to when it is efficient. Have you guys ever been on a hunt and things, might develop fast, they might take some time, but at the moment of truth, you realize you forgot to load your gun?
Oh, yeah.
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 Are you kidding me? That's all you got?
Forgot to take the safety off? Well, yeah.
Yep. I've yelled, take them. Everybody's like, boom, boom, boom. I can't get that gun to work. And I realized I didn't reload it from the last volley that came in. And I'm like, you just shake your head some days and go, that's hunting.
And I got to chalk it up a little bit. So, you and I, Jeff, have been hunter ed instructors for many years now. And it's just that safety thing. All right, I'm not going to put one into the chamber until I'm actual on a hunt. I can remember a deer hunt where I thought that we were going to hunt one spot and figure out, nope, my brother had other plans. And so I took just the one out of the chamber and put it in my pocket and took off and just to be safe, sat down there and morning, turned to that gray area and then a little bit lighter. And here came a nice buck. And sure enough, he walked right up to me. Now, this was in a former life and state, so, I mean, it got close. It got within 30 yards. Thought, all right, I can make that shot with this shotgun. Got the sights all lined up on him and pulled the trigger and click. Now, it was really loud to me, but even louder to that nice buck because he didn't give me another opportunity. But it was one of those things I will never forget that. Everything worked out perfectly except the shell, which was in my pocket.
That's not a good place for a shell.
No.
Usually doesn't go bang there.
No, it doesn't often.
That's why when they ask most hunters if they're also bird watchers, if you have any conscience whatsoever, you check yes on those surveys because that day you were just a bird watcher.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do
exactly.
About it.
Turkey hunts. Have you done it before on a turkey hunt?
Forgot to load the gun?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have a time or two.
You think you have?
I'm pretty sure I have. There's nothing that jumps out to me as one that I remember where, yep, I definitely forgot, but I'm fairly certain I have.
Oh, man. You need to get out more because I remember several times where I forgot that crucial piece. But it was my good buddy Mike that one time put his shotgun together incorrectly on a turkey hunt. We didn't find out until there was two toms strutting in the decoys, and he's there, safety off, pulling the trigger. You can see him trying to will that thing to go off and getting madder by the second, which we all do, right?
No dishonor.
But we had to take it apart and put it back.
There's no dishonor in like forgetting to put a shell in the gun and then going up to shoot and click. There's no dishonor. Now, if you're like drawing the bow and forgetting to put an arrow in it, that's dishonorable, right?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
There's an issue there.
That's pretty bad.
If the gun click, no dishonor there whatsoever.
Forgot the release. You've done that before, haven't you?
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah, that happened to a buddy of mine a couple falls ago.
And it does not work without the release. I'm telling you right now. You'd think it should. It's just simple geometry.
Yeah, I've tried. I shot high, mom and two little ones, and that's one of those things you're just thinking, I'm going to go to the tree. I'm not going back to the truck for this. What are the chances a deer is going to happen by? Sure enough, that's when it happens, and you start thinking, I can do this. I've shot bear bow quite a bit. This is kind of like archery in the schools. I can do this. And you don't realize that sight's not set up for fingers.
Yep. Not set up for
just
that
like
at
riding
all.
a bike, only totally different. Yep.
Yeah, and nothing worse than in the case of deer or turkey or what have you, that you educate them a little bit. They hear that click. In that case they heard the arrow go flinging past them a little too high, and then they move off just outside of range and just kind of try to figure out what exactly happened, what's taking place, and you're just thinking, I can't move now, I can't load, I can't do anything, but they're not in range anyhow, which is kind of fun.
Now, have you guys ever been in a situation where birds are coming in, turkeys or deer are coming in, but that's not the only nature that's calling?
Yes.
That's what we call a pickle.
Yeah, that when you're sitting there and you think, man, I really got to go, and then you hear that gobble at 60 yards, that's not good.
Hurry up. Oh, the crazy things that happen in the great
if you're in a
outdoors.
pit or if you're in a ground blind
Where
or
are you
anything
going with
like
this,
that,
Hershey?
you just designate a corner.
No.
Yep, right there.
No.
It's on your side.
See, I know a guy who's got now this works for one situation and not the second, but he's got a tube that runs down his tower blind and into the ground.
Someone's brother-in-law has a funnel.
Yes. My brother-in-law, he built mostly. I've helped built these really nice tower blinds where we hunt on his farm, and the one we call it the command central because it's right in the middle at the corner of a big field, and it kind of sees over the whole property really. But he really got elaborate. He put a PVC pipe, kind of comes up like this, and it goes down. It's a 2-story blind. It goes down the first story, down the second story, and right into a lime gravel pit and underground. And you laugh at it, but I'm going to tell you right now, pretty slick. Pretty
I
slick.
just remember, Dad, what is that? Do they play telephone with that? No, don't put your ear to that.
We talking 2-inch PVC pipe, inch and a quarter. How big?
Moving on.
We're getting some ideas here, folks.
You're just gonna have to figure it out for yourself. But that's pretty slick. But
now, and this isn't my story. I wasn't there, but a brother hunting with a cousin that shall remain unnamed had nature call a couple times. They were in a duck hunt, and luckily it wasn't super cold outside. But one of them had to go, like I said, call a nature, and I'm not sure they were feeling well that morning. But I got a report back that Bill is missing a sleeve. And pretty soon, it's just like, uh-oh.
Oh, no.
How it goes. Bill's now missing 2 sleeves. And pretty soon it was like, we've got to leave before Bill is naked. So,
you only do that once, and you bring toilet paper every single time.
yeah. And you'll get a kick out of this, Michael. So one of the first fishing boats that I ever bought, one of the first real fishing boats, that must have happened to this guy I bought it from. Now, he had since passed before I bought it from the family. But one of the fun things about buying a used boat is there are compartments and storage areas that are hard to get to and you forget to, or it rattles and vibrates into deeper into where you can't get it that well.
Yep.
And so it's always fun to unpack those and get down in the crevices and see what they left behind. There can be some good stuff in there from time to time. This guy had no less than 6 rolls of toilet paper.
Oh my God.
He's
All
serious
over
about
the
that
boat.
call.
You know, yep. Unused, some that where you could tell that he thought it. He took the cardboard tube out of the middle so he could squish it down, put it in a baggie. But it obviously happened once. Like you said, happened once that you're prepared for.
It doesn't happen twice unless you're just kind of a goofball. But I tell you right now, there's a lot of people that just bothers them. The idea of having to, answer the call of nature in nature kind of bothers them. And I got to be honest with you, that's just something. That's a tether. You gotta cut that line. Because if you can see past that, if you can handle those chores, you're mobile. I mean, you can hunt, you can fish, you can do all kinds of things. But you got to kind of find that zen with nature.
Just remember, if you don't bring toilet paper with you, leaves of 3, leave it be.
That's right.
I tell you, nature can be wicked.
That's something you don't forget fast either. All right, talking about other failures, we're coming up on, and we will get this one out, folks. It's probably just hours, if not a day or two away by the time you're listening to this, Valentine's Day.
Oh, man.
And there's a lot of guys, especially maybe a few gals, that are struggling. What do I do for Valentine's Day? It's kind of that catch-22, no matter how you look at it. When you ask your significant other, what do you want to do for Valentine's Day, or what do you want me to get you for Valentine's Day, what do they say?
Nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't need anything. Oh, don't worry about it.
That's code, by the way. I'm going to be honest with you. After being married for 8 years, that's code. You got to break the code. You got to learn to decipher.
So what does it mean?
It means you better get something. And you better have thought it through, and it better be heartfelt. It better be good. Yeah.
Now, have you guys got any bad gifts or had bad
Well,
Valentine's
Hershey, tell us
stories?
about a gift, any bad gift. You ever given a bad gift? One that most people might go scratch your head and go, huh.
See, to me, folks, a bad gift is one that gets forgotten real fast. If you can ask somebody like your loved one, what did I get you for Christmas? And there's a big pause there.
Ooh.
Didn't work.
Nope.
But if you can say, hey, what did I get you for Valentine's Day or Mother's Day, and they remember it,
so
it's a win.
When you ask your spouse, what did I get you for Valentine's Day 5 years ago, and they remind you that it was a frog purse.
It was a toad.
A toad
let's
purse.
Let's not get tacky here.
Is that still a win? I don't know if that's still a win or not.
No, it depends on the tone it was
Folks,
said with.
I saw this thing. It's a whole toad made into a purse. Now, the toad probably did not agree to the whole thing to begin with, but it just, I'm telling you right now, is that a win? I don't know.
So would this memory be recollected with animosity, or this sounds like maybe it would
remembered.
be?
Well, it's remembered. I mean, it's just one of those things where you go, oh.
Well,
toad purse.
at least it was remembered.
It was remembered. It was
They
remembered.
say it's a thought that counts, but what were you thinking? That's what I want to know.
Some thoughts count more than others.
Some thoughts shouldn't be.
Now, one thing that was a win was when I got my current girlfriend. I got her a pair of pink muck boots because she really has a thing for pink.
You just say my current girlfriend.
I think you did.
And they, with some roses.
Let's hope a certain someone doesn't listen to this episode.
And that worked well.
I hope her name rhymes with Leslie. I really do.
I'm seeing a gal in wildlife, Michael.
That's what we always say anyway.
Oh, I knew that, Hershey. I knew that. I was.
Yeah.
But that one went over pretty well. Now, some of the other ones that I recall growing up didn't go over quite so well. But you guys got to have something.
The gifts that didn't go over so well.
I received
just
a 4-foot
Valentine's
teddy
Day.
bear one time.
You did what?
I received a 4-foot teddy bear one time.
That's the cutest thing I ever heard.
From a certain somebody who will not be named, if she happens to listen to this.
Does her name rhyme with?
Her name rhymes with Cassandra.
And do you still have that 4-foot teddy bear?
It is at my parents' house. It's sitting on
Good
my
spot for
childhood.
4-foot teddy bears, yeah.
This is fun. It's sitting on my childhood rocking horse.
Oh, there you go.
Well, that's just the cutest picture I can ever come up with right there.
Yeah.
There is a picture of me holding it, and the look on my face is not one of glee. I will say that. You might have to ask her about that at the potluck tomorrow. She'll gladly show it to you, I'm sure. But
Jeff, yours have all been winners, right?
Every single one thought out perfectly. I don't have room for errors like that. I wouldn't even think of some of that stuff. Like, nope. Now, Here's the deal. My wife and I, we both, of course, you find a partner that's going to think like you do or have like some of the same things you do. And yet she still married me. But anyway, my wife and I are very similar in a lot of ways. Now, she'll say we're almost exact opposites about everything, which is, I think, healthy for a relationship. If you guys need some love advice, that's healthy. But the one thing we both like doing is we like eating. We like to eat food, like good food. You know, we don't just throw food in the gut just to eat. We like good food. And we do like to go out to eat, and we kind of do that quite a few times a week. And so for Valentine's Day, it's no different for us. We like to go to a restaurant somewhere, whether it's Valentine's Day or if I'm working or doing something, it's some day near there, and just go out to eat. Now, to me, that's a home run, right? I'm not a big flower guy. That's just not me.
You don't like getting them,
and I just don't like.
And you're a
flowers.
plant guy.
I know, but non-native flowers to me are just kind of meh. Now if you were to give me, some clovers and some solidago and some
then you'd
grasses.
be impressed.
Oh man, you put some heart into that.
A bouquet of white clover for Jeff.
Oh my God, not necessarily white clover, but but I'd be impressed. But just go to the store and buy plants. That's just not necessarily me, but. I do like gifts, but my gifts start like in the reloading department at Shields. Primers, powder, those nothing says love like a 1,000 primers. I mean that or a keg of powder.
You're not ruining your wife's Valentine's Day presents.
That's an expensive Valentine's Day gift nowadays.
That's a good idea. Get her some primers. That's a good idea. Why not?
Oh, honey, you're not using those?
I burned that bridge too many 27, 28 years of marriage. I bought a few guns over the years. What's this? It's a new gun for you.
So boots. I got mine, muck boots. What is the outdoor gift that you guys have given for Valentine's Day to your sweetie?
Oh, that's a good one. I've given guns.
Okay.
I've given guns. For Valentine's Day, I don't know about Valentine's Day. Most of the, Christmas, birthday presents, I've given guns, coats. I did give boots one year.
This year, I'm giving her an all-expenses paid trip to National NWTF Convention, if that counts.
You are just the sweetest guy.
Folks, did you notice how he got that? The NWTF guy got that plug in for National Convention.
Yeah,
if you're in the Nashville area, make sure you check it out next week.
His first rodeo.
Or actually this week when it comes out, probably February 13th through the 17th.
Go turkeys.
Go turkeys. You'll either be in a good mood or a bad mood next week, depending on how Sunday goes.
Yeah, we'll see how good of a mood I am in for convention. Will be fun. But anyways, my fallback for Valentine's Day is usually jewelry and chocolate. That's what it winds up. It's usually what mine.
And what do you get, Cassie? Oh, I'm sorry.
That is what I get her.
Boy, she knows your heart, doesn't she? Oh, Michael loves jewelry and chocolate. He can only wear so many necklaces.
I do like shiny things, but they usually they go bang.
Yeah.
There you go.
Or they reel in fish.
Or they reel in fish.
Which,
I like those shiny
talking
things
jewelry
too.
and bullets. Have you ever shot a silver bullet?
Yeah.
Have you really?
Yep. But it wasn't made of silver. But there's silver bullets.
Wait a sec.
I've shot some bullets where the casing was nickel instead of nickel plated brass.
Well, that's not a silver bullet. That's a silvery casing.
No, I've shot silver bullets, but never have I shot a bullet made of silver. In fact, I'm not even sure I'd want to shoot a bullet made of silver down the gun barrel. I'm not sure I agree with that.
Dave has one you can use.
You think he does?
A gun, yeah. You provide.
Hey, let me see that 22. Boy, you're that friend that just keeps on giving, aren't you?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, all right. A lot of things to do, and Jeff, I know you usually full of tips for those guys listening, thinking of Valentine's Day, and so real quick, we're gonna have to wrap this up. But like I said, it's gonna be a quick one. We got a lot of things going on. We'll get back into the swing of things here once we get past the next couple of weeks. But give us some do's and don'ts for Valentine's Day, and maybe draw on your wildlife background, your biologist training.
Well, do's for example.
Okay.
Gifts. Gifts are always appreciated by any species. You look at the loggerhead shrike.
There you go.
Prime example, right? Loggerhead shrike. He'll grab a grasshopper or something and pale it on a barbed wire fence, and mate can come by and looks at that, and if, man, that's a good grasshopper, you're the guy, right?
Gift of food.
Yeah. And so we do the same thing as men. We guys, we'll go out and we'll buy food. We don't impale anything on a wire, but I'm just saying, it's similar. And so don't be afraid to give the gift of food or gifts in general. Now, there is an aquatic spider out of Uruguay that I would say it's an orb weaver, a web spider. That here's a don't. Now he gives a gift. He wraps it in silk, real thick wrapping of silk. And if he's a real Casanova, I mean, he gives a nice gift. It's a bug or something, and maybe that bug's even still kicking in there. But some of them are just kind of deadbeat, dudes, and they're just kind of, they're sleazeballs. They put a stick in there, or they put some plant parts, or the wings or something of a critter they killed, and then they just do an elaborate, wrapping of the silk and all that. And while she's busy unwrapping it takes her a while,
continuing the species.
He continues the species, passes the genes, whatever the case may be. And so that's a don't. That's a don't.
Don't give bad gifts.
Don't give bad gifts like that. So there's another example. Do's. Stay with spiders. The black widow, the male. He climbs up onto the web and he just shakes his abdomen. He shakes his back and forth.
He does the twist.
He does the twist as hard as he possibly can, and it vibrates the web, and that kind of signals her to come down and take a look at him. And the harder he's shaking that butt, by God, if she's attracted, but it's a deal. If not, well, he dies.
He dies.
So there's something to be learned from there. I'm not sure I know what, but boy, God, take note. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So wildlife do all kinds. Some serenade. We've got mice that'll serenade. We've got frogs that'll serenade. So some critters like to serenade. Birds, a lot of birds who serenade. Birds are notorious serenaders, right? There's nothing wrong with that. If all else fails and you've already shaked your abdomen, and that abdomen isn't working,
and you're still alive,
sing like like there's no tomorrow, like you're the third monkey on the ark, and it's starting to rain, buddy. Sing, and just see what happens. That might seal the deal.
All right, there you go. I think we're going to put a fork in it right there. Hopefully this helps folks had a little fun and hopefully enjoyed the big game and ready for Valentine's Day. But until next time.
Hunt Nebraska, brought to you by your Nebraska Game and Parks Commission.